My STEEZ not going on. Yes, Lord, bringing you Sunday ticket, man. Last stretch of games, round 7. Coming into this game, well, first game we had Gold Coast Suns versus Sydney Swans. Coming into this game, I was definitely assuming that Gold Coast was beyond who would win this game. I haven't been too high on Sydney. I think I've been pretty critical of Sydney, just given the way that they've been playing all season. I don't think they look impressive. I think they still have a lot of problems. So Gold Coast coming off a loss to Richmond, in which they were still dominant as far as inside 50s, and they made a great push to try and make the game competitive toward the second half of the game. And yeah, man. So Richmond had a good win against them, but I still thought Gold Coast didn't really. They're just not completely out of it. Their season isn't over. I didn't look at them as a much different team than the rest of the season. And so coming into this game, like I was saying, I expected Gold Coast to win this game. And early, the first quarter, bro, Sydney was trying to prove me wrong, bro. They looked great. They came out and looked like how they were playing against North, and they just looked great, really, in all aspects. They were neutralizing the midfield for Gold Coast. They had tag jobs on Rowell and Anderson with Rowbottom and James Jordan. I mean, it looked like they did a good job, bro. They were doing very good in that aspect. The forwards were leading, and the forwards that I've been critical of, like Hayden McLean and Peter Laddams, and just not having the natural forwards there, they look good. They played the role, bro, and they looked to make an impact, and they did so early in the game. And Gold Coast, just best players couldn't get their midfield couldn't get their hands on it, bro. Rowell only had a couple possessions. Noah Anderson as well, and those two, if you ask me, are the two driving forces of that midfield. And so yeah, it just didn't look as competitive, bro. Like the game could have got put away early. And second quarter was similar to the first, except Gold Coast did look a little better, specifically more Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell. Matt Rowell still got limited to his possessions, and Gold Coast did cut the lead quite a bit, but then Sydney just got back to how they were playing in their dominant style of footy at the end of the second quarter as well. Gold Coast was definitely looking questionable, and really just the second half, I don't know what Damian Hardwick said to his team, but they were just completely flipped the script and dominated, dominated Sydney in all aspects, bro, from the center, stoppages as well, just really in every facet of the game. They were just clicking on all cylinders. The midfield started to get the ball more. Bailey Humphrey had a great game up forward with the new haircut. I guess haircut, you give some people some power, some players power sometimes, but Gold Coast really just went back to the basics and played how they've been playing all season and played great, where Sydney just could not get possession, bro. Sydney could not. And even if they did get possession, they would turn it over, bro. And it was like a complete flip of the script, bro. In the first half, Gold Coast was fumbly and not able to really do much with the footy. And then this time it was just Sydney's, and Sydney was just worse for a longer stretch of the game. Gold Coast had 12 straight goals. So that'll tell you pretty much that. You do that, if you give them 12 straight, you probably lost the game, bro. Unless there's some crazy circumstance that allow you to win. And I want to say that was from like the very end of the second quarter all the way up into the fourth quarter, where Gold Coast was scoring those 12 goals and Sydney was not able to get any at all. And Sydney did end up getting the goals off like a 50 call or free kicks. And surprisingly, they got 3 goals in the fourth quarter from an unlikely hero. They moved Nick Blakey forward, and he ended up getting 3 goals in garbage time, albeit, but that's not really who I would expect to get the goals, considering, especially like last week, I want to say it was last week, where he was just very inaccurate as far as his kicks went. So he missed a couple of gimmies, if you ask me. So yeah, Sydney, I think their season's probably done, man. Like that stretch was very good, bro. I was very impressed, and I thought maybe they could show more of that game, but it was short-lived, and Gold Coast got right back on the train and setting up a very competitive, potentially a very competitive game, and they keep hyping it up, saying that they got the Q Clash coming up, the best Q Clash potentially to date between Gold Coast and Brisbane. And so that will be very interesting. And considering how Gold Coast has played, I'm not opposed to tipping them, man. So we'll save that for the tipping video. But yeah, man, impressive win for Gold Coast. Trying to show Brisbane who the real comeback kids are. And yeah, man, that's what that was, bro. Sydney got a lot of work to do, man, and that's very demoralizing. So yeah, that's what I got for that one. Next game, we had the Carlton Blues versus the Geelong Cats. And coming into this game, I thought this could be a very good game, man. It just really was dependent on which team show up. Geelong had a pretty bad game against the Hawks last week. They were able to prevail, but the game still wasn't looking too great for them, considering, well, just in terms of skills and really just the standard that Geelong usually plays to. Whereas Carlton is coming off a 2-game win streak, and Geelong had won 3 straight up until that point. Carlton was on a 2-game win streak with their only wins coming against West Coast and North. So that was just very questionable too. The quality of sides that you beat within those two obviously aren't quite the best of what you would like. So I don't think it was a true test as to how good Carlton really can be, although they did look good coming off the win against North in dominant fashion. But definitely needed to see it against a more quality side. And at least in my opinion, I do regard Geelong as a very good side when they're playing their best footy. And so coming into this game, I was a little worried that maybe Carlton were pretenders. I probably wouldn't even give them the pretender title because they still haven't done much yet and had a lot more to do to really even get that status because they're below that. But yeah, man, Dangerfield has been on a tear this whole season, so I was worried that he could have potentially just carved the defense up of Carlton. And the first quarter was a very good contest. It was really back and forth. I don't think it was clear-cut. Either team is just better than the other or is playing better than the other. I want to say it was the first quarter when Jack Savani had got hurt and fucked his finger up or his hand up and just doing little punching matches or whatever you want to call it, just roughhousing with Dangerfield, and he ended up fucking his hand up. So he still played, but I think there are reports now that he may be missing some time, man. So that's very unfortunate because he's been playing great down back. It's one of the pieces I feel like we needed. But second quarter, Carlton really put it on Geelong, bro, and Carlton asserted themselves and were playing good in the clearance game. And I think where Carlton looked good, particularly this whole game, was ball movement. You wouldn't have thought up until this point that Carlton was the worst ball movement. Well, has the lowest disposal efficiency of all teams of all 18 teams, because they look great, man. And part of that was attributed to Elijah Hollins playing again, and he seemed to make the right play every play, bro. He's a great addition to the forward line for Carlton, and just adds a bit of class all around the ground. And I'm really a big fan of him. You kind of see what we've been missing, and he boosts us a lot. But yeah, I think Carlton just was way better as far as cleanliness, if you will, with the footy, and was better in the clearance game. And they added a bit of a point differential in that second quarter. But Geelong was still in it the whole game. They were just into it. They weren't. I was never really fully convinced that Geelong was out of it. But that being said, any run that Geelong made, Carlton was a mature enough team to answer that and to kind of arrest momentum just a bit. And I was really impressed with Nick Haynes as well. Nick Haynes was great, bro. This is his best game from Carlton for sure. Early on, he had myself included, I was critical of him, and I don't think he played very good at all. He played terrible the first game against Richmond, where he was just dropping marks. And I guess looking back, though, he was in the right position to get those marks. He just wasn't able to take them and was just making mistakes all over the place. And this time, he really just stood up on it and really helped the defense a lot. So I think the defense played great. McGovern played great as well. Wiedering always plays how he plays. And I think they got the matchups right defensively. So I was really a fan of that. Sam Walsh continues. Ever since I said Sam Walsh, I've been critical of his play. And he's been very impactful for Carlton the last couple of weeks. So I've been very impressed with him. It's good to see him get back to his best footy. And that is what he's been playing. Hewitt, we all know how he was probably one of the most maybe not the most underrated, but I can see a case for it. But the most underrated player, midfielder in the competition, maybe even player in the competition. But yeah, at the end of the game, I was never really, I would say I wasn't necessarily as a Carlton fan on my toes too much. But until that fourth quarter, bro, like I was feeling comfortable. But that fourth quarter, Geelong made a run. I think they had like 3 goals in a row. Jesse Cameron was a big reason for that. And they started coming back, bro. And I was like, oh, tell me Carlton isn't about to do that. Tell me we're not about to pull a Carlton and lose the game. But they didn't, man. They didn't. They answered. Harry had a goal at the end. Harry had a Harry moment and shanked the footy, but he also had a goal in the fourth quarter that kind of pushed us to the front. George Hewitt did as well. And yeah, it was just a very quality win for Carlton. It was very good. I was impressed with them. And honestly, the game didn't really have the same feel from a Carlton perspective where, okay, we're going up by 40, we're going up by this much, or we're going to fumble this whole lead. Though I actually was convinced that we would hold on to the win. And that's very rare for me because I'm very skeptical of how we play sometimes. But the difference was the ball movement, bro. If the ball movement was holding up the way it was, and I didn't think that we would lose the game, and we didn't. So as far as Geelong perspective, man, Tom Stewart got hurt again. He stayed on the field, but that wasn't good. Also, matter of fact, Zach Williams got hurt too in the first quarter. He got fucked up, had a little rib. He got hit in the side, was down very early in the game for that, and then got subbed out because of a calf injury. So Cooper Lord got an early opportunity. I've been wanting to see him play a lot more, and so he hopped in the first quarter. But yeah, Zach Williams just has a history of calves too, so there is a cost that I think that Carlton is about to be feeling because of this. If Safani's out and Zach Williams is out, considering that both of them really have been impactful in the season so far in their respective forward and defender positions. But yeah, Geelong, I wouldn't say this is their best game at all. You know, Dangerfield didn't have much impact. He definitely was held in check. You see when Geelong's get going and they're playing a great footy, they're playing and they're at their best. Dangerfield's at the center of that, and you know, Savani held him in check, where he didn't have that many marks, he didn't have that many disposals, couldn't quite get the possessions, but he had his moment, like especially at the end when he just ran through the pack and hit side, like he got hurt a little bit. But yeah, man, Bailey Smith played a good game. Stengel had an early goal, but a lot of players really just weren't up to it, man. They just kind of went missing. And I will admit that Carlton may have had the rub of the green as far as umpiring, from an umpiring perspective, this game. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Every team ends up on the shit end of umpiring sometimes. And regardless, Carlton really was just a better team, regardless of the umpiring decisions, just inside 50s, clearances, you know, just and just being clean with the footy. All of that was just really in favor of Carlton. So that's just what it was, man. Go Blues. Happy with that. Keep the momentum up, bro. But that's pretty much all I got for that game, man. I was very happy, very excited, and I will continue to be. Last game of the night, we had Hawthorn Hawks versus West Coast Eagles. And coming into this game, Hawks on a 2-game losing streak, haven't been playing their best footy at all. When they are playing their great footy, they are top of the tables, man. Their attacking is just way too dangerous to overlook. And they just play good, man. I don't think it's a coincidence, and I keep on saying it, that Will Day has been out, and I think he gets them going. So still just waiting to see them get on track. What better team to go against the West Coast to get your confidence up? That's what started with how Carlton started their confidence. So that also West Coast, they were competitive last week. Had a shot, ultimately came up short. But I do think that there's a big difference between the two clubs in this particular match. If Hawthorn brought their best shot, then I don't think West Coast was really going to stand a chance. Also, there was just a little bit behind the scenes too. This is the whole Oscar Allen and getting recruited by Hawthorn, by Sam Mitchell, and so it was interesting to see how that was about to fill out, or if there was going to be anything in this matchup. But as far as the game goes, like the first quarter, that was the only level of competitiveness that the game really had. And I think that was really only just due to Hawthorne being inaccurate in front of goal. They left a lot of points on the board, and ultimately it wasn't a big margin. I think both teams had 2 goals in the first quarter. It was just Hawthorne had a lot of behinds. And really after that, it was just not much competitiveness at all, bro. They actually tried Oscar Allen in defense this game. They had him down back, wasn't a forward, and he did not look good. So he got fucked up multiple times. So it was, I think they need to give up on that experiment already. But yeah, man, there was like 2 concussions. Carl Amon had a concussion, and Jack Scrimshaw as well. And even at the end of the game, when fucking Jeremy McGovern had laid out Nick Watson, the Wizard. Some people don't like that nickname, but it is what it is. Him getting laid out, he could have potentially had got some shit there, but nah, he got up, and I don't think he has a concussion. He wasn't too happy with it, but hey, yeah, man. Harley started off slow as shit. Had maybe like 1 or 2 possessions in the first quarter max. Ended up having a more decent game as the game went on. Lloyd Meek and for Hawthorne, Ruckman was just accumulating multiple possessions. He had way more possessions than Harley did himself. So that was, you kind of knew that it was going to get dirty for West Coast early, man. And it's just tough considering how competitive they were last week. But it's not going to be a week in, week out thing with them. It's going to be the growing pains. They're going to be the ass whoops that West Coast is about to have to endure. And especially if you're going to experiment and put arguably your best forward down back. But yeah, man, there was really not much to say about this game. Hawthorne started off inaccurate, ended up getting their shit together and overcame the inaccuracy, and really just took West Coast to school the last 3 quarters. And it wasn't really competitive at all. So it's really just what it was, man. Capped off the end of the week with an ass whoop. And yeah, that was it, man. That was pretty much it, man. But that's round 7. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit. Look forward to the videos this weekend or during the week before we get into round 8. Can't believe we're already at round 8 already, man. It's about to be, season gonna be over before you know it, and I'm gonna be sad, man. But appreciate y'all tuning in. Yes, Lord.